Last week I took my first look at Gods of the Forbidden North, Volume 1, and this video I'm doing a follow-up and looking at the second part called, well, appropriately, Volume 2. There is a third volume, which is you can do a late pledge currently that is on Kickstarter, but if you're watching this and the Kickstarter late pledges have closed, then I will show you where you can get parts 1 and 2 and probably pre-order volume 3. So if you are going to not use Kickstarter, say because late pledges have closed, then you're going to need to come through RPG here. And if you do buy it, you can get a PDF copy, softback, hardback, or copies with soft and hardback. Again, the prices may have changed depending on when you're watching this. If you do buy this, please do use my affiliate link. It does help create a little bit more money for the channel, which then I can put back in turn to buy products like this, because I don't pick up this, I didn't get this product for free. So yeah, it's coming in 532 pages. Volume 1 was, I think, only 480. I say only only as doing the little bunny ears, because they are pretty thick tomes. There's a lot in these books. Okay, so let's just get over and take our look at the book. So here we've got the front cover. When I bought the book on Kickstarter, it did come with, so you've got the book, you've got this page here of pre-generated characters, and then there was all the maps. So within this book, we'll just quickly flick through so you should see. So like there's a map here of the beating. You are given separate maps. I believe you'll be able to buy these at a later date anyway, but it does come within the Kickstarter, and then you can easily upload these into whatever VTT you want to run. And it's got all of the images like this as well. They're all out as separate files if you need them. Before I get into the book then, let's just have a look at what's in the pre-generated characters. And what's this? This is 18 pages of pre-generated characters. This appendix provides 13 pre-generated characters for the campaign starter, replacement characters when you kill players, spontaneous NPCs, and convention play listed in alphabetical order. Okay, so they're like character class type people, aren't they? So we've got a cleric, yeah, okay, so acrobat, yeah, assassin, barbarian, bard, cleric, druid, fighter, illusionist, knight, magic user, paladin, ranger, and thief. That's quite handy actually, just to have these sort of, just so you can just kind of throw them straight into your adventure. They are all, I think they're all first level. So yeah, you can use these as player characters or just insert them somewhere in the adventure. Okay, so Volume 2. I nearly called it Part 2. It is Volume 2. 532 pages, it says here. The cover art is different to 2, the first one, which is good. And this, as you can see, has a very dark underground feeling to it. And that is because Volume 2 deals with this underground, the underworld of the area. Again, there's going to be no deliberate spoilers in this, so I will be going through the book at a little bit of a pace, but obviously if you decide to pause the book, there will be spoilers. You will find things, but there might be accidental spoilers as we go through. Right, let's get to the credits first. So the publisher is Pulp Hummock Press, and the author and designer is Rob Alderman, who does have his own Discord over there. He's on my Discord. He's a very approachable, friendly guy. I always love it when you can talk to game designers and creators. They're very quick to come back when you throw questions and stuff at them. So credit where credit's due. Well done, Rob, for Robert. Never know whether you should shorten it, and let's not. Let's just stick with Robert. So I said, this is the starting town from the first book. So the plot, this is all I'm going to give you. In the first volume, you arrive on a ship to a area, and which is this town here, and then you go out, and the adventure campaigns just start from there. And this one, it's all about the underground. Table of contents. So we've got an introduction to Volume 2, how it's going to work. All the hyperlinks are here. I love books with hyperlinks. I do get excited. Is excited the right thing to say? But it's so nice just to be able to jump through sections of the books very quickly. So we've got an introduction. And then we've got Diggers of Dolgun, Children of the Green Light, Tower of the All-Seeing Eyes, Malagoria, the Endless Underworld, the Black City of Morgathor, the Green Dome of Farandoth, Malum Hatius, the Brass Temple of Magoth, and is it then Appendix? Yeah, okay. As you can see, we're also starting the game in chapter 11, which is quite nice because you then hopefully, you won't accidentally jump into volume 2 and start with chapter 11. And also, it won't confuse people because if you sometimes, we've all done this where we pick up the wrong book, take the wrong book out, and you start an adventure, you're gonna go, oh, it's chapter 11. This doesn't make sense. Why am I not on chapter 1? So if they'd done 1 through to 18 in book 2, it could have been a bit confusing. So that's quite good. It just shows the continuity across. But everything is hyperlinked, every little title. And each chapter is going to be separated like this. So you've got the chapter itself, the basic rules of the chapter, going through the conclusion, and then the XP and rewards and magic items in the world. So we've got the introduction here into why you're going there. The 3 volumes of God's Bit are broken down as follows. So the first book is The Arctic Frontiers of Settlements, Cultures, Religions. Second book is Underworld and Remaining Mid-Level Dungeons for the Arctic Frontier. And the third one is a big castle looking at it when it's going to land. The 3 books needed to play. It says Old School's Essential Advanced, Player's Tome, Referee's Tome, and Forbidden Gods of the North, all of which I have, so that's good to know. I don't need anything else. Book itself is laid out very well. So you've got titles with these black backgrounds and then getting into each sort of paragraph. Anything in the text box is designed to be read out loud for the players. We've got a wandering monster table. Again, just a breakdown of the adventure. Also, it tells you what level the players should be as they go through. So chapter 11, 5th level, 12, 6, 13, 7, up to 8th for 16. So should that be 7? So we've got a couple of chapters where they remain at 7 throughout, then they go to 8th. And then, this is a big chapter. So, wow. So in chapter 17, that's going to be quite large because that's going to take players looking at it from 8th all the way up to 12th. 17. How many pages is that then? It's only 40 odd pages, so that's going to be quite a. Let's look out for that, but again, try not to spoil anything once we get into that chapter. Each chapter will have, so you're going to see all these throughout, so you're going to see the NPCs with artwork as well, which is always handy as a games master to get not only a description of where they, what they do, their motivations, but a physical description that you can just describe to the players, or if you're one of those games masters that likes to share the images as well. So that is quite good. So we've got the first location, which just takes you underground into the mines then. Looking at it again, I'm trying not to spoil anything. It's accidental spoilers is kind of what I'm saying. Valkengard, that's the starting city. There it is. I knew it'd come to me. Well, I say come to me, it hasn't come to me. I've been reminded by the book. So we're into the next chapter here. Again, it's like all these maps, all this artwork is pulled out separately. The buildings are really well laid out. That's quite cool. What's that? I don't know. Don't want to focus on it for too long. There's an orphanage here. Ground first floor, second floor, and then underground basement. There seems to be a lot of sort of maps that are going to take you out. There's a lot of letters here to read to bring the adventure on. These adventures as well, that it's very sandboxy in design. I think I've been told, but people have discussed on how it works out. So the players don't have to go through and discover it in order, especially the first volume. That does have quite a spread for the players to go in whatever direction. But each of these adventures encounters are set out exactly how you'd expect. with it. So you've got the sort of preamble, which explains what goes on in the adventure. So it's designed here for 6 to 8 level up. Probably should have said from outset, you're going to need it's going to expect a larger party to run this. It's going to need a little bit of work if you're running with only 3 or 4 players, because the encounters will be a little bit tougher. You've got optional adventures in here as well, but each segment or part chapter, I don't know how we categorize it, will sort of tell you what's going on and then sort of lay out each adventure. It's got each adventure area and then what goes on, as well as the maps linked to it. Oh, that's very oriental. Oh, wow. Well, he's probably lost there when he's lost his arm. That's quite cool. That's actually very, looks sort of Japanese inspired, this sort of tower and area. Right until the point you've got this creature here with this massive one eye. Watch the beheading darts coming out the wall. Stats for all the creatures are, as you'd expect, it's sort of like breaking down armor class, THAC0, hit dice, how to hit any sort of resistances and things they're going to have in there. And they say, so like at this map, it's got all the numbers here. And as you would expect, it's just then you look at 18 Anti-Chamber of the Lotus Dreams, which is then you sort of describe what's going on in the room. There shouldn't be anything in here that isn't unfamiliar for a games master. Now, obviously, if you've never played it before, this is how it works. I said, Volume 1 had a really interesting hex crawl element to it, where Chapter 2, I think, well, Volume 2, I should say, is going to be, because of the way that, on what page are we on? 173. Because of the way this is laid out, it's almost as if it's going to be a choose your own adventurous-ish. I bet these are probably going to be the big adventure sites. And oh, it does, doesn't it? That's quite cool. It actually all runs through and then follows where your players are going to go in the areas that they will take them through. That's quite cool. And then it's got like the zoomed area, which are going to be more important sections of the map. So 173 we're on, weren't we? Okay, I like that. That's quite good, because then that builds for the players in a nice and easy way for them to sort of follow what's going on and how it all works. So we've got certain geographical things, and then random encounters. I say this all the time about random encounters. If you're going to do them, I would roll for them before the session, just so you're not surprised on the stat blocks of the creatures that you do roll. Okay, and here's, okay, that's a little bit tucked away in the book. So 188, we've got actual hex crawl of the actual Underdark. So that's the player's hex crawl map, and then the games master's hex crawl map. Okay, might have liked that a little bit earlier, but it's probably linked into when the players need it, and well, we've got it anyway. So oh, I say that these things, it's always nice to have a frame of reference that looks not too dangerous. Well, it looks mean, but then when you see the I'm not going to say the little human, the scale model there. Oh, sacrificing. Dragons. Oh, we're going to get dragons in this one. Level 8 to level 12. Do we want to be fighting dragons yet? I don't know. The artwork really sort of shows an underworld as you'd expect it to be. But the encounters are also going to be a mix of traps and combat and those sort of, because it's got that old school element of discovery as well. These are ginormous, because there's your little people. Well, not little people. Well, they might be little people, but I'd imagine these are ginormous, and those are standard sized humans. And we're back to, there's quite a theme of undead in the first book, so there's more of that in this one. That is horrible. We got, that's another giant. There's lots and lots of big things. Oh, the black water vortex. We'll try and avoid that, I think. Might not be able to. It's just then what's at the bottom of it. Well, you'd imagine being a vortex, not very many good things. That is some freaky looking bat type thing. And this just shows you the end of each of the chapters. So depending on what the players have done. So there's no level in here. It's proper XP for doing and killing things. And then it will just detail party treasure as well as where the magical items are in the books. This is the Black City, which is quite a big looking area. And then we've got the Green Dome. It's going to take a long time to run this, isn't it? When you think about the chapter sizes on how long it's going to take you to get through and actually play these. So this is the Malum Hater. So this is the one that takes them up 4 levels. Which Death Trap Dungeon. Oh, it's a big dungeon. I love big dungeons like this. You don't run them very often because 5th edition is... Well, we've all been playing a fair bit of... Not everyone, but playing 5th edition for quite a while. And I don't know why these dungeons don't... Well, they don't feel as deadly with short and long rests, I find. So it's when you play like an old school game that you start really panicking over, as a player, these dungeons with like this traps here on the images. And you just know this is a trap. This is such a great setup for players to go, oh yeah, there's a corridor and there's faces with holes in, holes where the eyes are, big holes where the mouths are, and at the end of the corridor there's a door with a knocker. What do you do? And the player's like, well, we're not touching the door. We don't want to put our hands anywhere near the faces, and we want to avoid everything. It's a weird game, isn't it? Because you do have that instant paranoia, especially as soon as the games master, as you describe a door, or it's devoid of a lock and there's just a handle. The players just go into that. You go and touch it. You checking for traps. Where it's one of the few games, isn't it? Fantasy. You don't really get sci-fi. Let's check for traps when a doorway comes round. And we've seen a lot here, and we've still got 130 pages to go, which is just testament to how much work Robert's actually put into this. And this, again, bearing in mind, this is volume, or should I say only volume 2. So we've got a whole nother one that's being currently written as we speak. And so that's the appendices. We've got 110 pages of appendices, which are monsters and non-player characters. And then, just if that wasn't enough, they felt the need to give us all these pre-generated characters. So this is all monsters, stat blocks. It is devoid of art on the monsters, but they do have descriptions of before the stats for most of them. All alphabetized, so it does make it easier. But the game itself will tell you. Well, when you look at the stat blocks, so I'll just go back. Let's try and find a stat block quickly for a monster. And it should tell you where to go and actually find it, because the first book did. Oh, no, anyway, you'll discover that for yourself. I'm not going to sit there and go through this. So where are we? Again, I'm trying not to sort of spoil too much. Sewer Beast. So it links it backwards as well. I should have just stayed here. So see Chamber of the Sewer Beast in chapter 12, area 13. So that will just let you know where it is. And they will link backwards and forwards. A creature here, I have no chance of saying what that is. So I won't. And I know, I'm sure people chuckle away when a dyslexic goes, oh, go on, read it. Read it out loud. And then you're thinking in your mind going, that's not what it says. So it's another one. Robert, you certainly do pull out names. And then we've got magic items and bonus spells, which is always good. So are we on magic items first, or is it all merged into one chapter. This appendix is alphabetized listing of all new magic items with their physical descriptions, powers, and or drawbacks. So we should then have a separate one. None of the spells are included in this bit then as well. Okay. And some of them are links. Well, you need the first copy of the book anyway. I'm glad you only need 3 books. So players, GMs, and referees, I think it's called, isn't it, for this? And the first one, this Warhammer does this thing, and as much as I love Warhammer, and I really do, there's so many of the source books, it'll have a little footnote going, you need to buy this this additional book to help the way the mission or the combat's going to work. Then we've got some additional rules here for things like cave-ins, chaos cavities, flash floods, gale deafened, underwater caves amplified, Malgoria's howling unnatural wind. This causes temporary deafness. Hypothermia, always need hypothermia rules. It's ace. Quest and discovery rewards, and then that's all the additional rewards just compiled in the back section of the book for ease of find. And then we've got a glossary of names, no hyperlinks for the names, but this is all the names, and this isn't just the NPCs, this is the areas of within the game as well. So if you don't know what a place word is relevant to, you can just flick back to here, and then you can find out that Zoshi is the skull acolyte at the brass temple, serves the entropy discipline hunter. There you go. And then we've got the impossible to read index because it's tiny. It's absolute. I had this in the first chapter, in the first volume. It is really, really small. And then we've got the books here of the Kickstarter backers that supported Robert to get the book published, and then just details of all the artists and author and artist in the pages. But the good thing is about the index is it does have hyperlinks to each of the sections. So if you can read it, which you can, you might need to zoom in depending on whether you're young or old. Then you can just then hyperlink across to the pages. Okay, so that is my look at Gods of the Forbidden North Volume 2. And it's, I generally can't believe it's even bigger than Volume 1. That hex crawl map is quite good. Actually, well, I say quite good. It looks really, really interesting. And I think it's going to be quite fun to just mix up the fact that the players can kind of go where they want. And at least it's not going to be railroad. It's going to just give that feeling that, let me just get back to that map. I don't think you could see that, could you? Let me just go back in. So when we're looking at the map, what I really like is this. So as the players are going through and discovering stuff, it's going to be quite linear for you as a games master, because if you're in this room, there are only certain places that you can go and travel to get to where they need to get to. So I'm showing the players the games master's map's got a lot more on it, a lot more details, and all the encounters, which will then link back to sections of the book and the castles and the domes and all those that the players are finding. But you could actually just give this out and cover chunks of it up and actually uncover it as you go. It will work really well on a VTT where you can just black out the fog. But yeah, this, I think that's quite good. Well, not quite good. That's very good, because the players are going to have the impression they can go where they want. And as a games master, you're not going to have to panic. So a bit of the problem with the first one and any sandbox adventure as a games master is that sometimes going in, if you don't know how to set up next week's encounters very well, you can find yourself reading an awful lot of stuff. So what you need to do with that is obviously ask the players where they're going next week to sort of help you minimize how much you're going to read when you're running a sandbox. But with this, because the map is sort of, it's tunnels, it's all underground, the way it looks, you know where they're going next week, and you know what encounters are going to happen. And you can also slow people down with, put in a random encounter that just, if you want to buy yourself a little bit more time, as opposed to when you're doing a hex crawl and you've got 6, well, theoretically 5 directions, because they shouldn't go back the way they came. It can be a bit harder, more daunting as Games Master. So once you get to Volume 2, after completing Volume 1, which will take you a while, Volume 2 looks simpler to run. Anyway, that is me taking my first look at Gods of the Forbidden North, Volume 2. I'm really pleased that I've got these. I think I've been on the fence on whether I upgrade to the sort of limited edition, nicer bound copies of the books. I think I'm going to, because I'm not going to be able to run this off a PDF. I just know that. So, well done, Rob. It's Volume 2 is looking equally as good as Volume 1, and I can't wait to see Volume 3 once it's done. Everyone else, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Oh, I do have I should have mentioned at the start: Discord, Facebook, Patreon. Plenty of ways to support and help the channel grow. And obviously, if you do buy this, or when you do buy this, please do use the affiliate link. It really does help me put the money back towards paying for things like this. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video.